Mark Zuckerberg just met with Donald Trump today at Mar-a-Lago. This is multiple meetings now, and it's after Mark Zuckerberg announced that he's going to change the way that Meta moderates. I am going to break down. This is one where you're going to have to buckle up, sit down, and hopefully I do it justice to make my case that we are in the middle of experiencing a transition to a technocracy. And what's happened is it's being funneled in through the backs of MAGA and Donald Trump. Let's start off with the famous now, recent but instantly famous video of Mark Zuckerberg. And then we're going to go to an article that you can't get anywhere else because I took it, put a bunch of articles together, put my opinion on it, and it's now a Middle MAGA After Show Carnage exclusive, sourced with other articles that will be after this. Let's go.
Hey everyone. I want to talk about something important today because it's time to get back to our roots around free expression on Facebook and Instagram. I started building social media to give people a voice. I gave a speech at Georgetown 5 years ago about the importance of protecting free expression, and I still believe this today. But a lot has happened over the last several years. There's been widespread debate about potential harms from online content. Governments and legacy media have pushed to censor more and more. A lot of this is clearly political, but there's also a lot of legitimately bad stuff out there. Drugs, terrorism, child exploitation. These are things that we take very seriously, and I want to make sure that we handle responsibly.
There's nothing for him to handle. Either the posts are legal or they're not. And you are not judge, jury, and executor of free speech. If you think Congress should pass laws to be able to do some type of arbitration online or something, I'm fine with that. But you can't have these tech bros being, well, I think you were smoking. Were you smoking a cigarette or were you smoking something else? I got to pull down your post. No, you don't know. I haven't had my due process. Let's get back to Mark Zuckerberg.
So we built a lot of complex systems to moderate content. But the problem with complex systems is they make mistakes. Even if they accidentally censor just 1% of posts, that's millions of people. And we've reached a point where it's just too many mistakes and too much censorship. The recent elections also feel like a cultural tipping point towards once again prioritizing speech. So we're going to get back to our roots and focus on reducing mistakes, simplifying our policies, and restoring free expression.
Remember, I'm listening to this through the lens of me looking at our government in a fascistic way, merging with private business. But who's the head honcho? It's not big pharma. It's not any of these other businesses, the oil industry, anybody else lobbying. It is the tech industry. It is space. It is engineering. It is automotive as far as electric cars, because it's basically every company Elon Musk is about, but also Peter Thiel, Palantir, all of that, and then of course social media
on our platforms. More specifically, here's what we're going to do. First, we're going to get rid of fact checkers and replace them with community notes similar to X, starting in the US.
That is no different. The community note system on X, I did praise early on, but it's turned into a manipulative system that is done in order to demonetize basically on the platform of X and de-rank and de-boost posts that Elon Musk and X doesn't want. That is not free speech. Just because you don't like somebody's post, you only see community notes on viral posts. You could put a community note on any post. It only goes on viral posts because those are the only ones that are kind of cracking through the noise or the echo chambers. Community notes is not a good system. You can see community notes on satire. You see community notes. I had that one. I had the post. A lot of people, Charlie Kirk was reposting the Agenda 47 initiatives from Donald Trump, and they kind of posting it, not saying that he had just said it, but basically acting like he had just said it. But it was all relevant. It's what he said when he was running for president, and he's president-elect. So I posted the one that I like, I've talked about multiple times on the channel, the Digital Rights Act. It is it's unbelievable policy. He's not going to do any of it. Okay, don't worry about that. He's not doing any of that. But he said it, and I posted it. Whatever reason, people retweeted it. It went viral. Guess what? I put on it developing Donald Trump Digital Rights Act. The community note on my post was, this is not developing. He said it, I don't know when he said it, in 2023 or something like that. How is it not developing? He just won the election. Wouldn't you want to know what his take on it is now? I got a community note on my tweet because I used the word, I stole that from Dom Luker, of course, developing. And then I broke the news and the title and all that. For whatever reason, that thing works to help things go viral. They put a community note on my tweet. There's nothing inaccurate about it. They never claimed there was anything inaccurate about it. It was their opinion that the word developing wasn't appropriate for the tweet. I'm going to pause the video and show that right now just to make sure you see what I'm talking about. My. Here is the post that, so I did the whole thing. Like I said, here it is. I said, developing President-elect Donald Trump outlines plan to shatter censorship regime, restore free speech. All of that is accurate. I didn't say he outlined it today because what it was like 2 years ago, even when he did. This was his first one under Agenda 47. So after the tweet, I put the link to the actual Donald Trump site because people didn't even, beyond the time frame, people didn't even believe it was real because it's such a fire policy, fire speech, and for whatever reason, nobody saw this thing. It's the best policy, Donald Trump's. It's the best policy we've ever seen in America on free speech, in my opinion, other than the original First Amendment, because we need another one now, basically. But you see, I put the link under there to show it was from his website. You can see what date it's from on there if you want. And they put a note on it. And I'm just using this as an example because I know this example because it was I was involved in it. I don't care about me personally. You can go and find examples of this all over the effing place on X. It's an example of a disaster of how it's not a rare occurrence. They put it on satire. They put it on anybody they don't like, really. Remember Pearl Davis, people know her as Pearl. It's Hannah Pearl Davis had that post about the catfish. I called it before the community note came. She did a post showing basically your favorite influencer with makeup and without makeup, which is just brilliant marketing. People like that. And then everybody replies. And last I saw, weeks ago, it had over 10 million views. Before it got 10 million, you can listen to my video. I said, it's going to get community noted because they don't like Pearl Davis. And then all those other influencers don't want her to get paid off of it. What happened? They put a community note on her. She did here's my catfish of the year. Like, who had the biggest change between makeup and not makeup? It's an opinion. Why is there a community note on it? There's a community note on it that says it's common. It says something stupid like it's common for women to wear makeup or something like that. It's almost worse than the fact checking because you can provide context on anything. If you're going to do a fact check, you would probably only do it on something you want to correct. In this case, you can do it at all. And look at this. Readers added context they thought people might want to know. It's not developing. To hell, it's not developing. We don't know if he's going to, we know he's not going to do it, but it's something that we can talk about. That is a 2-year-old video. I never said it wasn't a 2-year-old video. And I have the link to it underneath. How ridiculous of a kind of a thing is that? Let's get back to Zuck here. After this, I'm going to play an article. I'm going to have AI read an article that I put together using AI and resources and my opinion. So stay with me here till the end. The whole point of this is me laying out that we are in a technocracy now, not a democracy, a technocracy.
After Trump first got elected in 2016, the legacy media wrote nonstop about how misinformation was a threat to democracy. We tried in good faith to address those concerns without becoming the arbiters of truth. But the fact checkers have just been too politically biased.
This doesn't make sense. So Mark Zuckerberg believes this right now, that misinformation is a threat to democracy. That statement has no meaning. What does misinformation mean? What do you mean a threat to our democracy? What is the democracy? What are you talking about?
Good faith to address those concerns without becoming the arbiters of truth. But the fact checkers have just been too politically biased and have destroyed more trust than they've created, especially in the US. So over the next couple of months, we're going to phase in a more comprehensive community notes system. Second, we're going to simplify our content policies and get rid of a bunch of restrictions on topics like immigration and gender that are just out of touch with mainstream discourse.
He had restrictions on topics like immigration. What is the restriction on immigration? I did a test on YouTube. I haven't done it recently. Before I started the After Show channel, before I converted it from the Tim Pool unofficial After Show to the After Show Carnage channel, I was running tests on videos because I was like, I feel like there's a lot of reasons why you might get views, might not, but I feel like words are affecting it. And I did the test running videos on different times, different channels, and I saw that I had enough proof, and I ran it through AI to do stats on it, that the word immigration on YouTube videos was deemed as, from my research, I don't have any proof other than the research I did, because I would take the videos, put them to transcript, give them to AI, give them the views, use the same thumbnail. It just basically trying to do a unofficial scientific experiment. And I found out that it's crazy what words, the word immigration, I found out the word immigration on YouTube can get me less views if I use the word immigration or not using the word immigration in a much less Israel or Zionist. Oh man, you use Zionist on Facebook, you're done. Not done, but you're deranked, deboosted, shadow banned. And the same happened with YouTube. I thought, oh, well, that was obvious. I knew that. Israel, Ukraine, Russia, all that done. From my research, I saw independent research, I saw that. And so look, no surprise that there's so many people that have left Facebook because they're worse. Gender, immigration, these are just general topics. I mean, this isn't even, we're not even talking about the mustache dude or anything like that. Even that topic is nothing to me now. But of course, to them it is. This is the type of stuff that he was doing before. No explanation as to why, just like, oh, I'm going to change it up. We have no proof. There's no way for us to know if he's going to change it up or not.
Restrictions on topics like immigration and gender that are just out of touch with mainstream discourse. What started as a movement to be more inclusive has increasingly been used to shut down opinions and shut out people with different ideas, and it's gone too far. So I want to make sure that people can share their beliefs and experiences on our platforms. Third, we're changing how we enforce our policies to reduce the mistakes that account for the vast majority of censorship on our platforms. We used to have filters that scanned for any policy violation.
Famously, Zuckerberg tore his ACL doing some training for his MMA fighting. And he posted a picture. I don't know why. I didn't read the full article. I read a little bit of it. I didn't care enough to read it, but maybe give me the comments to let me know. I don't care enough to look it up, but he posted a picture of him, and I think it was on Facebook or Threads. I forget which one. He was on the hospital, and it was his left knee, I believe, and he had his left knee up, and he was like something like toughing it out or something, something lame like that. And his own algorithm deboosted him, and he was pissed. So that's part of this too in the backdrop.
Now we're going to focus those filters on tackling illegal and high severity violations.
Illegal?
And for lower severity violations.
Who determines if something is illegal or not? Can you help me out here? How all of a sudden do we have Mark Zuckerberg telling us what's illegal or not? Do you not see the problem with that?
We're going to rely on someone reporting an issue before we take action. The problem is that the filters make mistakes, and they take down a lot of content that they shouldn't. So by dialing them back, we're going to dramatically reduce the amount of censorship on our platforms.
They can literally turn the dial up or down on speech.
We're also going to tune our content filters to require much higher confidence before taking down content. The reality is that this is a trade-off. It means we're going to catch less bad stuff, but we'll also reduce the number of innocent people's posts and accounts that we accidentally take down.
Notice there's no discussion in this whole video, check me if I'm wrong, about giving users more power. I want the power to say, well, I don't care if something's illegal or not. Do I want to see it or not? Is what I care about.
Fourth, we're bringing back civic content. For a while, the community asked to see less politics because it was making people stressed.
Yo, he said, man, this is so cliche and cornballish, but man, could you imagine James Madison in the grave right now? Like some curly-haired freak is in control of a huge market of the digital. The town square has gone digital. There is no town square in any town that means anything right now. Maybe on a college campus, probably not even there. Because I remember I was at University of Michigan in the square, Ann Arbor. There would literally be a soapbox. There would literally be people on the soapbox. Nobody cares about that anymore, man. The whole battle's on digital. Could you imagine Thomas Jefferson, like this squirrely ass dude, is saying, you know what? I feel like letting civic conversation go on the digital town square. Yeah, we'll bring it back. Civic conversation? You mean like just normal politics? You were blocking that? Wow.
We stopped recommending these posts.
I see.
But it feels like...
Why couldn't I get it? If I like politics, I won't recommend it to me. Why can't I control that?
We're in a new era now. And we're starting to get feedback that people want to see this content again.
Oh, okay.
So we're going to start phasing this back into Facebook, Instagram, and Threads.
Wow.
While working to keep the communities friendly and positive.
You know what this is about? Elon Musk spent over at least $277 million on Trump and the GOP in this last cycle. He spent $400 million on Joe Biden in the allegedly stolen election of 2020. He's put all that money in the drop boxes and to get out the vote. It wasn't for the Democrats. It was just $9 out of $10 went to Democrat heavy areas to bring out the vote to try and tip the scale in Biden's favor. $400 million he donated in 2020. Biden stole the election. Biden became president, and he had no sway. Biden was still talking about putting pressure on big tech. Biden didn't care a damn about him and his wife dropping $400 million, and he didn't. They wouldn't return his phone call for anything. Elon Musk drops 277. That was on Trump and the GOP. And he's dog walking Trump in a gimp suit before he even is inaugurated in front of everyone. What are we talking about? H-1B visas. Donald Trump's probably like, wait, what? How did that happen? Oh, Elon Musk, that's how. And then he comes out with the memo, tells everybody to shut up, but Elon Musk isn't shut up. He did kind of switch over to the UK, so maybe he's respecting the memo. But Elon Musk wasn't included in the memo because if somebody gives you $277 million, Susie Wiles can't tell them to shut up. So let's recap. Elon Musk spent a little bit more, probably about half as much as Zuckerberg spent. And Elon Musk is dog walking this bruh. He's at Mar-a-Lago. He's moved in. There was a report, I don't know if it's true or not. Of course, they want to drive a wedge, but that Melania was like, I think it was actually Melania was happy about him being there because he was distracting Trump or something like that. But it was almost like he had moved in with them. He moved into Mar-a-Lago. It's like your boss moving into your house with you. It was really awkward. Let's get back to Mark Zuckerberg.
Fifth, we're going to move our trust and safety and content moderation teams out of California, and our US-based content review is going to be based in Texas.
Wow.
As we work to promote free expression, I think that it will help us build trust to do this work in places where there is less concern about the bias of our teams.
Wow.
Finally, we're going to work
That was a nice little quick bitch slap of California right before. This was before, I believe, the fires.
with President Trump to push back on governments around the world that are going after American companies and pushing.
That's what this is really about too. They kind of like Trump. They're like, okay, we can cozy up to Trump, and Trump will be the pit bull. We control Trump. Really, Elon's the head honcho here. And he's trying to cozy in more. Zuckerberg's mad that he didn't spend the $400 million on Trump. Is what this is about. Because he would have been in before Elon, and maybe Threads would have been the top platform. Elon was the one with the smarts to trick the populist right. Zuckerberg thought the best way for him to get a technocracy or to get power would be to lobby the corporate left, the corporate Biden, Clinton, and all them. Hillary Clinton looks at him like a little bitch. Hillary Clinton was like, boy, I will end you, and I will end you if I need to. They don't respect him at all. What he missed, the thing he missed was Elon bought Twitter, and what a bargain it is now at this point for Elon. He controls the narrative and everything, the presidency and everything, basically. And Elon was like, it's easier to cozy up to the populist right than it is to lobby the corporate left. The corporate left is savage as hell. Obama don't give a damn about you. Blinken don't give a damn about you. Kamala's a nobody, but Jill and Joe and Nancy, they look at you like they dog walk you. Elon Musk was like, these right wingers, the populist right, this MAGA, they're pretty stupid. Oh, yeah, freedom of speech, but not reach. And MAGA's like, yeah, Elon, we love you. And Elon's like, yeah, I'm not going to have to drop that 400 mil. We're going to make this happen. Let's get back to Zuck.
To censor more. The US has the strongest constitutional protections for free expression in the world. Europe has an ever-increasing number of laws institutionalizing censorship and making it difficult to build anything innovative there. Latin American countries have secret courts that can order companies to quietly take things down. China has censored our apps from even working in the country. The only way that we can push back.
So this ties into the TikTok, and Donald Trump doesn't want to ban TikTok, but it's not up to Donald Trump. Sorry. You've got new bosses in town, and they don't like competition. That's all the TikTok stuff is about. Let's get back to Zuck. And that's why he's talking about China and all that. We can't do this in China, but TikTok is in our country. They don't give a damn. They want to power over the narrative. You take TikTok out, then Reels. My wife is using Reels now more anyway than TikTok. I actually don't use. I was on TikTok a little bit back. I don't use it much anymore. I don't know. I don't like it, but anymore. I'm more of a long form guy. I've always been a radio guy. Listen to radio of Art Bell, George Norrie, Rush Limbaugh, Jim Rome, all the greats. Even Howard Stern a little bit way back in the day. Don Imus, Nappy Headed Hoes, all that stuff. You know the drop, the Nappy Headed Hoes drop. That was Don Imus. If you don't know, Don Imus got kind of in trouble for that back in the day, but I like the radio guys. Sally Jesse Raphael. I used to listen to Dr. Laura was fire on the radio. I even listened to Steve Harvey in the morning. I used to listen to him, all kinds of stuff. MC Search. I forgot what show he was on. That was a hip hop show. Used to listen to them, but let's get back to Mark.
Back on this global trend is with the support of the U.S. government. Mm-hmm. And that's why it's been so difficult over the past 4 years.
Support of the U.S. government means control of the U.S. government. Influence. The U.S. government's not doing anything for you. Zuck knows that unless I have power and influence. That's why he's meeting with Donald Trump.
When even the U.S. government has pushed for censorship. By going after us and other American companies, it has emboldened other governments to go even further. But now we have the opportunity to restore free expression, and I am excited to take it. It'll take time to get this right, and these are complex systems. They're never going to be perfect. There's also a lot of illegal stuff that we still need to work very hard to remove. But the bottom line is that after years of having our content moderation work focus primarily on removing content, It is time to focus on reducing mistakes, simplifying our systems, and getting back to our roots about giving people a voice. I'm looking forward to this next chapter. Stay good out there, and more to come soon.
I wonder if, and I could be jaded because I use a lot of this stuff, not jaded, but it's not a big deal. But I think he had a teleprompter there, and there's software you can do now, you can use to stop your eye from going back and forth and looking. And I kind of saw what I saw that it might have been tweaked there, the video in post to make sure his eyes didn't look like he was reading the teleprompter. Not important at all. Well, let me stop this. Joe Rogan is big to copyright, even though there's no sound on it. Yeah, so now let's go over to the article and break down this technocracy. Again, this is not something you're going to be able to get anywhere else. I pieced this together from Newsweek and a bunch of different articles. I don't even like giving them credit. I'm still salty about the New York Times did not give this show credit when we interviewed the homie C3P Meme. And they did a hit piece on the Dilly Meme team and him, unfortunately, using the show as data. So when I say the feds are listening and Mossad's listening, they're really listening. But so I'm hesitant to give any type of credit when they can't return the favor. Let's go back. So this is written by me.
Mark Zuckerberg and Donald Trump's Mar-a-Lago.
Unique article. Can't get it anywhere else. Let's go.
Mark Zuckerberg and Donald Trump's Mar-a-Lago meeting, a turning point for tech and politics. On January 10, 2025, Mark Zuckerberg, CEO of Meta, flew to Mar-a-Lago for a confidential meeting with former President Donald Trump. Just days before Trump's inauguration for his second term, this encounter was not just a routine handshake. It marked a profound intersection of power, technology, and politics demanding scrutiny. The billionaire and the president-elect. Zuckerberg's Gulfstream G650 jet, parked beside Trump Force One at Palm Beach International Airport, symbolized the growing ties between Silicon Valley and Washington's returning leader. This was not their first meeting. In November 2024, shortly after Trump's victory in the presidential election, Zuckerberg met with Trump over Thanksgiving. These discussions laid the groundwork for what unfolded during their January meeting.
This is when Laura Loomer was crashing out, and I think this was before the banning of this was before the holidays, when Christmas, when the H-1B visa came up. And I think that was a sign that Elon and others were like, in Trump world, they're like, Laura Loomer is going to be a problem for us. Laura Loomer did not get a seat at the table, even though she deserved it. There's no bigger Trump supporter than her. A lot of people don't like her in D.C. They probably think she's unpredictable. Nobody in business and politics like people who are unpredictable. And Laura Loomer didn't get a job, not even a BOEM. They didn't even give her like a secretarial job or some stupid job just to keep her. If I were Trump, I would have just given her a job just to keep her on the team, basically. Give her a reason not to go against me when I have to do these cringe things, like bring Zuckerberg in. That wasn't a choice from Donald Trump. He had to do it, in my opinion, allegedly, probably. So that was probably the first sign. And Elon is on this whole team too. And Elon's like, I'm the head honcho on it. We can bring Zuck in. We can bring Bezos in or whoever, Palantir and all that. But obviously, I'm the boss. I got the big companies. Zuckerberg's following me. And Laura Loomer's on my platform with a blue check, with the speech boost. And she, whatever reason, she resonates with people. She has, million something followers or something like that. And her engagement shows it. Some people have 1 million and maybe they bought bots back in the day or something. It doesn't feel like they have 1 million. Hers feels like 10 million. It feels like almost every big post of hers, and she quote tweets a lot, it feels like they all get 500, 600,000 and then in the millions. And that's a big, it was like she had a bigger voice than Elon almost. It felt like. At least in hardcore politics, she did for sure. Elon will get big views, but on stupid stuff. But on hardcore stories and politics, I don't know if there's a bigger reporter on X before this whole shenanigans. I bet you she has a little shadow ban on her now still. She did get her blue check back since then. But she spoke out against this. She was like, Zuckerberg, he banned me a while ago. I'm still banned on his platform. Trump, why are you meeting with this person? And now she's still talking about it, and you can see how it's all unfolded. Elon was like, "Oh, this H-1B," and then now Laura was the one that really brought it up big. He's like, "I gotta take this blue check." He's just like, "I'm tired of this BS," and he's like, "I'm gonna risk it all with the free speech." The whole thing was a joke. Let's see what happens if I take that X, and eventually he gave it back to her. Let's continue on with the exclusive Middle MAGA After Show Carnage article.
While the content of their conversation remains undisclosed, the timing raises questions. Just 3 days prior, on January 7, 2025, Meta announced sweeping changes to its content moderation policies. The proximity of these announcements and the meeting at Mar-a-Lago suggests more than coincidence. Meta's policy overhaul, a shift toward free speech, or a political maneuver? On January 7, 2025, Meta ended its third-party fact-checking program, replacing it with a community-driven notes system modeled after X. The company also relaxed restrictions on sensitive topics like immigration and gender identity, aligning with Trump's long-standing criticisms of big tech censorship. Further cementing this alignment, Meta relocated its trust and safety teams from California to Texas, a political stronghold for Trump, and appointed Dana White, a close Trump ally, to its.
I like Dana White. I mean, that's good. I mean, obviously they're all Zionists, but so I'm going to ignore that. Can't. If I bring that up, there's no one to really talk about or like. But I like Dana White. I have some clips of him and stuff like that. So you see what he did. Zuck hired Dana White. He appointed Dana White to its board. Wow, that's a big deal. The trust and safety teams, or just the board of Meta. I got to double check that, but that's crazy.
Board. These moves strongly suggest a calculated effort by Meta to reposition itself for success under Trump's administration. The free speech paradigm.
So you see the merger. We're going to get into the definition of a technocracy in a second, but that's literally the merger right there. Donald Trump appoints Elon Musk to a position that doesn't need to be confirmed. Elon doesn't want to be confirmed. You would have to give up you have to divest from your companies. That's no. I can be the leader. I already gave Trump all this money. I'm really the president at this point, and nobody else has any say over me. Elon Musk is in the perfect position. Tulsi Gabbard has already had to acquiesce on the FISA issue. FISA warrants, allegedly. I don't know. That's what I'm hearing. And she has to get confirmed. That's why she has to do that. Elon Musk doesn't have to get confirmed. So Elon Musk is separate. And then, Trump appoints Elon Musk. And then now you see Mark Zuckerberg appoints Dana White. And when Donald Trump won, who did he come up to the podium to speak? Dana White spoke for a good, 2 to 5 minutes there during the big win on election night. We did the live. It was like 1 a.m. my time or something like that. So now Zuckerberg's in with Trump. Trump's controlled, but still in with Elon Musk. You see the relationship and how it goes. And it's literally fascism. Government connecting with the public sector. That's all fascism is, to me at least. Or whatever you want to call it. I don't want to use words that, charged words that people have different definitions for. What we're seeing is the direct merger of government, the public business is government, and the private business of the tech industry.
And Elon Musk's power consolidation. While Zuckerberg's collaboration with Trump raises significant concerns, Elon Musk's consolidation of power represents another facet of the growing merger between corporate and state interests. Musk has positioned himself as a free speech absolutist, yet his actions often contradict this claim. He has banned journalists covering his private jet tracking, complied with global government censorship requests.
So I would edit this. He has banned journalists covering his private jet tracking. This was the situation where he was kind of getting doxxed with public information, though. And a lot of people don't agree with me, but I don't think there's anything illegal. And the person who did it didn't get arrested or anything. I don't think there's anything illegal about posting public information, as unsavory as it is. It's not something I would do, but if somebody posts my address, if they get it publicly, that's bad. I don't want that, obviously. It happened to Nick. But there really technically isn't a law against it. The problem with X is they have these terms, and then for some people they remove it, for others they don't. That was the problem I had, but at least not quickly. But if the only thing against free speech that Elon did was banning journalists covering his private jet, I really wouldn't be energized about it. So I'd probably take that out if I was going to edit this.
He has banned journalists covering his private jet tracking, complied with global government censorship requests, throttled competing platforms like Substack.
I don't really care about global government censorship requests. I only care about America, so I would edit that out also. Throttling competing platforms like Substack, I would edit that out as well, because there is no First Amendment right to advertise on somebody else's platform. So I have to think through that one. I never had a problem with it. Like, I have to think through if that makes sense. If it doesn't make sense, I have to change that. But do you have a? I have to think through that one. It's not very important for this, but I should know. I should have a better take to that. I know my take was I was against it, but for some reason right now I'm like, why was I against that? I gotta revisit that. But it's not important to the overall technocracy.
And silenced critics through lawsuits and platform suspensions. These actions suggest selective enforcement of free speech principles, prioritizing personal and corporate interests over consistent values. Government entanglement and classified influence. Musk's relationship with the government has deepened dramatically. As a key advisor to Trump and co-leader of the Department of Government Efficiency, Musk wields significant political influence. His business empire benefits from extensive government contracts, including...
So now we're talking about, now Trump appoints Elon. Elon donated over $277 million to Trump and the GOP, and Elon is tied into the deep state, the deepest of the deep state.
Billion in SpaceX contracts with NASA. $5.32. Billion in SpaceX contracts with NASA. His business empire benefits from extensive government contracts, including billion in SpaceX contracts with NASA.
That's $14.4 billion. For some reason, it's not reading it.
$5.32. Billion.
$5.32 billion in Department of Defense agreements.
Dollars in Department of Defense agreements. A $1.80.
$1.8 billion classified government contract. I looked this up. There is a contract that Elon, I think it's SpaceX, has with the government that is classified at $1.8 billion. There is there's zero chance you can convince me that that can happen with a person, CEO of multiple companies with contracts. Tesla has contracts, SpaceX has contracts, and he has a digital platform where millions of people go on, politicians, everything, world governments, damn near wanting to start war over it, really, hurting diplomatic relationships over the platform, and we don't have free speech protection over it. There's 0% chance that you can convince me I'm wrong at that point.
Billion-dollar classified government contract. Despite this integration, Musk's actions have drawn scrutiny. Federal investigations have raised concerns over his security clearance violations.
I would take that out. That's not where I want to take this. Obviously, I didn't fully edit it, but most of it you can see is solid.
Undisclosed meetings with foreign leaders and the...
He's with the deep state. I'm not. The deep state knows what he's doing. I guarantee you that.
Unusual 2-year approval process for his top secret clearance. These issues highlight potential risks in merging corporate and state power under figures with expansive influence. Foreign financial entanglements. The ownership structure of X further complicates Musk's role in shaping public discourse. The platform is financed by foreign entities, including Saudi Arabia, billion.
This is at the time of when he purchased it. It wasn't all his cash. He took some, Tesla stock out. There was a big controversy, might have helped the stock go down a little bit at the time. Saudi Arabia, about $1.9 billion donated to him. Remember, he paid about $44 billion, I believe. So Saudi Arabia dropped in $1.9 billion. UAE, $700 million. China dropped in $500 million on the purchase of X. Qatar, I don't call it Qatar. Qatar, $375 million.
This entanglement raises concerns about compliance with the Foreign Agents Registration Act, yet enforcement has been notably absent.
I'm still salty about that because a YouTuber, Lauren Chen, her company allegedly, it wasn't named in the indictment, but that's who everyone believes it is. And she did have to talk in Canada. Took, I believe it was $10 million from Russia. I believe that's what it was, the amount. Allegedly. They haven't shown us any proof or anything like that. She has to register. She's a YouTuber and had paid other YouTubers. She, in the indictment, basically, I don't remember the exact verbiage, but it implied that she should have, it didn't allege any wrongdoing it did not accuse them of any type of crime to charge or anything. But it said they should have registered as a foreign agent. But Musk has investments from that's just X, not to mention any other foreign investments. Of course, he doesn't have to register.
The lack of accountability in balancing foreign influence with national interests underscores regulatory gaps in addressing corporate-state integration, technocratic control, and governance. Musk's influence exemplifies the rise of technocracy, where leaders leverage technical expertise to consolidate power across political, economic, and technological spheres.
So you see that there's different definitions in there, but you get the gist of it. Musk's influence exemplifies the rise of technocracy, where leaders leverage technical expertise to consolidate power across political, economic, and technological spheres. That's exactly what's happening in our country right now.
His leadership in the defense sector, extensive government contracts, and control over public discourse through X create a technocratic structure with minimal accountability mechanisms.
It's not just him, it's Bezos, it's Peter Thiel, it's the whole PayPal mafia, it's a whole bunch of them.
This dynamic aligns with broader patterns seen in the integration of Silicon Valley leaders into governance. The military-industrial technology complex. Figures like Peter Thiel, Palmer Luckey, and Musk represent a new vanguard merging advanced technology with state power. Companies like Palantir and Anduril Industries secure massive military contracts, providing surveillance tools, AI systems, and border technologies to the government. This integration deepens the connection between corporate interests and national security. Anduril, under Luckey's leadership, plays a central role in modernizing military capabilities, securing Pentagon contracts worth hundreds of millions for drone defense.
He's the friend of Peter. He's the protege. That's the right term. Peter Thiel was the teacher. He was the student. So Peter Thiel already has Palantir. We probably already know about it. Drone surveillance out the yin yang. But there's his student is also rising up because Peter Thiel has more power.
And border surveillance systems. Palantir, led by Thiel, has similarly expanded its role in military operations, taking over Project Maven after Google's withdrawal and partnering with Israel's defense establishment. These companies are not merely contractors, but...
And then you see how Israel gets involved. That's Miriam Adelson and others. So now you have the technocracy. Israel is probably one of the best tech countries out there. And they are making sure that with that technology, they can monitor anybody who has any type of disagreement with Israel, Zionist, much less naming the Jew, if they care about you, if you rise to enough prominence, then you can get handled real quick.
Active participants in shaping the defense landscape, the technocratic nexus of power. The consolidation of corporate and state interests represents a fundamental shift in governance. Leaders like Zuckerberg and Musk operate at the nexus of public discourse, military-industrial interests, and political influence. Their roles blur the lines between private enterprise and government authority, creating a technocratic system where accountability is limited. The growing influence of these leaders raises concerns about democratic principles, regulatory capture, and the unchecked expansion of power. While their contributions to innovation and national security are significant, the lack of oversight and transparency poses risks to governance and public trust. Secrecy sparks questions. What exactly did Zuckerberg and Trump discuss at Mar-a-Lago? Was it a conversation about shared goals, a negotiation for mutual benefit, or a deeper alignment of agendas? The growing partnership between tech leaders and Trump's administration signals a merging of Silicon Valley's expertise with Washington's political machinery, creating a technocratic military order unlike anything seen before.
Before I end with these questions, I did see that Jeff Bezos' Amazon video production, movie, TV company, is doing a deal now with Melania, I believe, and the Trumps to do some type of, I don't know if it's a reality show or something, and they're dropping, I don't know, 40 mil or something like that. Another tech bro involved. They didn't put that in the article. I told ChatGPT to put this in the article. It didn't, so I'm a little salty about that. But that was in there. Then also I told it to put in Jeff Bezos, Google, basically every big tech person put $1 million in whatever the president's inaugural donation fund to kiss ass. Here's what I'm going to end with.
What is your take? Are we witnessing the evolution of governance into a technocracy, or is this a dangerous consolidation of power? Share your thoughts below.
The next clip is ready below. Welcome to After Show Carnage.